So I'm about to watch Tony Blair's introduction to his autobiography, A Journey. But before that, I was just looking at clips from speakers ejecting various people for unparliamentary behaviour, unparliamentary language in the British House of Commons. Westminster, the Westminster system, is a system that is modelled all over the world. We are fortunate at having one of the world's most politically stable countries, and by that I mean that whilst there is deep anger, name-calling, and deep political disagreements, as there are in any country, we are politically stable. Our last revolution, I believe, was the Glorious Revolution in 1688. So we are a politically stable country, and the Westminster system is respected all over the world, although it's very far from perfect. There's been a lot of high-profile scandals in recent years. I'm just giving that as a context. There's something I'd like to raise in this video which I believe is quite an important issue. It's something I've thought about before, and it does bother me somewhat. Britain's a democratic country. It's a multi-party system, and in society, broadly speaking, freedom of speech is guaranteed. Now, these videos can be entertaining. Some of the exchanges in the Commons can be entertaining, but there's a more serious issue here, and that is one of freedom of expression. Generally speaking, members, that is MPs, people elected to the National Parliament in London, Westminster, for those who don't know the British system, can engage in rigorous debate. So in that sense, there is freedom of expression. But there is parliamentary protocol and niceties, so to speak, which sometimes I think go too far. And if a member is perceived to break any of those niceties, for want of a better term, he or she can be asked to leave the House. Now, I have a problem with this, for the basic reason that it is an attack on free expression. There are certain terms that are forbidden in the House of Commons, such as liar. One member cannot call another member a liar. He or she must use very politically correct language like, "My honourable friend is not being liberal with the truth," something along those lines. I have a problem with this because, firstly, I think I understand the reason for it. If one member accuses another member of being a liar, that sort of soils their reputation. It's almost like libel. But if there cannot be honesty in terms of rigorous debate, then how can we call ourselves the mother of all parliaments? I'm not proposing that there should be brawls breaking out. That is the case, unfortunately, in some other parts of the world. And of course there needs to be some order in the House. But the job of Speaker is a very powerful role in the House of Commons. And there's times I think the curtailment on members' freedom of expression is too much when you get a situation where these sort of niceties are more important than a member's honest opinion. I don't want to see politicians being polite to each other all the time. I want honesty. I'm not saying I want to see heated debates. I'm not saying I want to see them at each other's throats. But I do want to see members demonstrating honest opinion, especially if all they are doing is reflecting the views of their constituents or their concerns. I'll give an example. Betty Boothroyd removing the Reverend Ian Paisley. Now, I'm no fan of Paisley. I think the man's a bigot. I think he's caused a lot of problems in the part of the world I come from. I'm not a fan of his at all. But he was removed from the House for calling another member a liar. That's an example of, and there's many others. Usually what will happen is the Speaker will give the offending member several chances to change or retract the language. But I think that's stupid. It's a bit like asking someone to apologise when they're really not sorry. It's dishonest. And what the British public needs is not more niceties and politeness in Parliament. What we need is more honesty. Now, if Parliament is trying to attract more youth interest in politics, if it's trying to attract more trust in politics, then we need to start breaking down some of these barriers. I'm not saying it's a good thing to have members yelling at each other, and I don't particularly want to see that. In fact, I don't want to see it. But at the same time, politics impacts lives, and when members see their constituents suffering and they want to raise those issues, it is entirely human that they might lose their temper. And in my opinion, they should be allowed to. It's just stupid to expect members. Obviously, these people are in a powerful position, so there has to be some responsibility in the language they use. I accept that. But when you get protocol that focuses so much on niceties, and by the way, this protocol goes back hundreds of years, so it's more to do with tradition than actual practicality. I just take issue with it. I believe that members should be able to say whatever the hell they want in Parliament, unless of course it is knowingly lying about another member or libelous material, slanderous material that is unsubstantiated. But I do think if there's going to be rigorous debate, that has to include allowing more honest language. So let me know your thoughts on this if you're British or if you're interested in the subject.